It's great to reconnect with each of you from across the state again. This Presidential Advisory Committee looking again at business now, the future, and also the bridge into our new normal, where we're settling into. Was presented the topic on realtor safety. And this Realtor Safety Month, we thought it was extremely important that we actually do something on about realtor safety. And so the members quickly said yes to a town hall on safety for our membership. Why? It's because we know that a crime against one realtor is a crime one too many. During this pandemic, there are additional stressors that come into play on top of the shortages that's with available houses. We end up with frustrated buyers. We end up with frustrated sellers. We're using a lot more technology, leaving the door open for even more opportunities that involve cybercrime. As realtors are often concerned about helping our clients with the purchase and the selling of their properties that they are entrusted with, they go about their business in a trusting, caring manner, often forgetting about a plan that involves the word safety, even though we've been told all along to plan our business, but we put that business plan together and it does not include safety. Earlier this year, we put together a task force on safety that will move to become a standing committee later this year, knowing the value of protecting our membership and again, our clients. Again, one lost would be one too many. So we have a member of our Kentucky Realtor leadership team, President-elect Charles Hinckley, serving on that NARs Safety Committee, and also helping Tommy Black co-chair the task force on safety. And Charles is one of our panelists today. Joining the panel is also Kim Whalen, a member of this Presidential Planning Committee. She brings a perspective as a broker on her implementation of a safety plan for her team. And then we have Cathy Corbett, a member of the Safety PAG, will share her experiences and the ideas on best practices from real estate and other businesses as well, especially with her properties that she deals with often in a lake area. Then we have Lisa Presley. Lisa has been passionate about realtor safety for quite a while. A Louisville broker with family member in law enforcement, brings her personal experiences. Also on the panel is Jason Rutherman and Scott. And Jason, he's been a guest presenter to our safety and is a Lexington officer and owns a training corporation that covers situational awareness and other safety precautions. And I think Scott is along with Jason today. Helen Hudson and Tally McDaniel have experienced work with local and state MLSs across the country. And with their Safe Showing app, Helen will share her personal story as to why she actually started the company. And then we have our CEO, Steve Stevens, on the call. And moderating today, we have NAR Director and PAG Chair, Lamont Breland. With that, I turn it over to you, Lamont.
Thank you, Mr. President, for all you're doing, and thank you, KYR Realtors, for showing up today. What I'd like to do is maybe just start off with the mothership itself, the National Association of Realtors, with over close to, I guess, 1.3 million members or whatever we are now. We've got Charles Hinckley, who is our KYR President-elect, and Charles is passionate about this subject, and he is on an NAR PAG. So Charles, what's going on with NAR right now when it comes to realtor safety?
Thank you, Director Breland, and hello everybody from Kentucky. It's good to see you, even if it's only on Zoom. Look forward to when we actually are able to see each other face to face again. NAR is really pushing strong for realtor safety. In fact, we just had a webinar again yesterday with some different groups, and I don't know if anybody was able to be on there besides me. We weren't able to see all the participants, but it was a great seminar. Some of the things that we're really pushing is to remind realtors it's our story that we're trying to tell. And, you know, it's easy to talk about some of the ones that are, it happened to them, it happened someplace else. But the fact of the matter is, it happens to us. You know, yesterday we were talking to Jennifer out of Iowa, and you know, one of her best friends was at an open house, minding her own business in what was considered a safe area. And somebody came in. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows what happened, but shot her twice. She died at an open house. She'd been at that open house every day. It was her custom to do that. It was a new construction area. And somebody came in, just pure evil, and just shot her. And it's tough. We need to be aware of these things. So one of the things we talk about quite a bit is at the national level, number one is telling your story. Number two is making sure that you're aware of what is going on. And then number three, there's some ideas that are bouncing around. None have been fully adopted yet. And I'll be bringing some of these to Kentucky, but I'll drop a few tidbits here. One of them is adding to your listing form a commitment from the sellers that say, we only want you showing property to somebody you verified, somebody that you personally know, somebody you've met with, you've seen their government ID. It takes just a few more minutes. Sometimes we're Pop-Tart realtors. We get a phone call and the first thing we do is jump up and run out. And what we really need to do is take the time to slow down a little bit and to make sure that we are being more aware of who we're showing to. And don't just assume that if we don't get it real quick that we're going to lose it. There are some people you probably want to miss. You want to miss the person who's out to do evil, the person who's out to do some challenges. So there's that. In fact, one of the people put up something yesterday I thought was really good. It said this: because I owe it to myself, my family, my colleagues, and my clients to implement safe showing practices, I pledge not to show any home to a stranger without first meeting them at the office or a public place and getting their government information. And that is a tremendous pledge that a number of realtors across the country are beginning to adopt. And so on the national level, very briefly, that's just some of the things that are taking place.
Great, thanks, Charles. I knew Pop-Tarts weren't good for you, so now I know for sure. Pop-Tart realtor, I like that. Hey, Jason and Scott, thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your service to the city of Lexington, the Commonwealth, and in our country. Tell us a little bit about your company, and then just tell us, what is situational awareness?
Sure. Well, first off, it's great to be with you all. I know many of you were on the last webinar that I was on, and so this is a great opportunity for us to talk about what we do and for us to understand how realtors are addressing safety. At APB Consulting Solutions, we have well over 100 years in law enforcement experience. We're 100% law enforcement veteran and woman-owned, and everybody that works for us is either prior law enforcement or military in tactical operations. So our biggest goal when we created this company was to bring the type of tactical knowledge that we have to the average everyday citizen in a deliverable method that was educational, that allowed the individual to retain the information and potentially life-saving information. You know, when we saw the other companies out there that were doing this, there wasn't anybody who was approaching it quite like we were. And so, particularly on the topic of situational awareness, I applaud the Realtors Association for what you guys are doing in just owning safety, because so many industries go about their daily business. And I've met with corporations. We service global corporations. We service restaurant chains. We service local businesses all across the spectrum. And you would be surprised about how many people and businesses simply won't acknowledge that, you know, the safety of their personnel does actually impact their bottom line. And so when it comes to situational awareness, particularly in what you guys do, it's really not a different concept from what a soldier or a police officer practices in the field. And you guys have watched TV shows, you've seen what, you know, how these guys operate. If you've ever watched like SWAT on TV or a SEAL team on TV or something like that, and you're like, man, look at those guys. There's that prototypical image that you have of just this super tactical person. And, you know, the application of situational awareness isn't necessarily something that's just, you know, embedded in you inherently. It's something that's learned. It's a trained behavior. It's muscle memory, and you have to practice it, and you have to be cognizant and put it at the front, not at the back. And so I'll let Scott kind of tell you what he how he defines situational awareness as he develops curriculums across the country for organizations like you. Scott, what would you say situational awareness is to you?
So one of the things we try and do is we try to help people understand in situational awareness is the typical things, look around, you know, pay attention. But what we've discovered is, and at least in my career, my experience I've discovered is we can take that just a step further, because sometimes that one step further is what saves someone's life. And so what we do is we come up and we show what that one step is in different scenarios. We show how to take the skills, and I've researched Realtor Safety, and you guys are really putting out some good information. It's very good information. But one of the things we'll do is we will show what that one step further is that doesn't take a lot of effort, but makes a huge difference in what would be deemed as a crisis situation.
Let me ask you this. I hear a lot about, so I'm a gun guy. I've got a concealed carry. I try to, I typically have a weapon somewhere fairly close by if it's not on me, but secured. But you know, there's been a couple instances in Louisville where people they pulled the gun and it was either used against them, or they maybe weren't trained and it did not end up well for them. And it may have even escalated the situation. Can you talk to that type of thing a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as a police officer, I learned at an early age, 17 years ago, that no matter what call you go on, whether it's an accident or a domestic violence, there's always at least one gun on every call, and that's the one that you have. And so weapon retention is a big deal in law enforcement in any tactical operator scenario. And it's no different when you carry it. And I know Karen well, and I know Karen carries, and she tells me that she does. And I know many of you probably practice the same. But situational awareness and understand when you take situational awareness to the next level is when you involve a firearm or a weapon of some type, because now your environment, and when I say environment, I don't just mean the home or the furniture that's around you. I mean the individual, the behaviors that he's displaying, how they're positioning themselves. All those things play into whether or not that weapon should be deployed, how you use it, and the probability of it being used against you is really dependent on training. Guns and technology, when we talk about what we do in terms of training, it's so important. Technology is great, and a weapon can save your life. But what do you do when those things fail? So we really look at it from a standpoint of empowering the individual to understand holistically their situation, whether or not it involves a gun or a weapon, whether or not it involves technology. You have to rely on yourself, and that's where we really help people understand true situational awareness.
Good stuff, good stuff. Cathy Corbett, welcome, and you've been a KYR member for many years, a broker. You're into a lot of things. So tell us about some of your observations and maybe best practices and things you're doing in your business.
Sure. Thank you, Lamont, and thank you, Lester and Steve and everybody for putting this together. And Charles, thank you for the invite to be on this committee. It's funny, we all have a previous life in real estate, it seems. And in my previous career, I was a safety culture leader. So this is homeschool stuff for me that I'm really excited to be able to bring anything that might add to this. Safety isn't something that you really want to need, but it's something that you need to want. And that's where we always started our safety culture improvement programs. If you're out here in the Lakes region where I'm at, so many of the training tools and technology that we could use don't work. We may not have a cell signal for the entire day that we're showing property. So any kind of technology that relies on that is out the window. We're also in a very strong gun culture. So most of my agents have concealed carry, and I listen to what Jason and Scott are saying. And it's really tough to hide a weapon in capri pants and a polo shirt. So, you're looking for something else that's going to be useful to you. And it's several years ago, I went to a self-defense fellow that we had sold a house for that was an ex-Marine, Special Forces. He gave us a very in-depth self-defense training class. And we ended up buying tactical taser flashlights that have been very helpful, especially with dogs. And we often don't think about safety as being just another individual. We run into a lot of dogs that are running around in the area. And even that taser will scare off a dog so that you don't have to come in contact with them. So to me, safety culture and safety is a very systematic approach. I love the fact that KYR has put together a committee. I'm really looking forward to being able to help in any way. And I think if any of us got on the NAR website and looked up the topic of realtor safety, we'd be shocked at what's already there and what's already available to us.
Good stuff. Never thought about the dog angle and that type of thing. So Kim Whalen, you're a broker, managing broker, large company. What kind of things are you seeing in your area, and are you all doing anything special for your agents to help equip them?
I was muted, sorry. Well, I don't know if I can add to the expert panel here, but at our company we've had, and Safety Month is a great time, we've had several discussions about safety, and we're recommending that and challenging our agents to come up with a personal safety plan. After our discussions, we have put together a safety plan with A, B, and C that will, like when you're meeting a seller or a buyer for the first time, when you're conducting an open house, what you're going to do when you're using social media, no glamour shots. You have everything for professional dress, and, when you're driving to a showing, different safety apps. We've discussed those different things, and I've made a challenge to my agents if they fill out a safety plan and submit it to me, that we're going to do a drawing for $25 gift certificate, just to get agents to do it. You hope everyone does it, and they don't, but if you just have 5 or 6 people that do it, it's 5 or 6 people that are more aware. Our company recently had, Tally, I think from Safe Showings, they did a presentation for our entire company. We're in Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. And that kind of got us thinking. We had a local creeper, as the board had put out, and actually one of our Ohio agents had shown that person property. So it kind of hit home to everybody that was watching that. But we're telling people that no commission is worth your life and to trust your instincts. So I'm certainly not encouraging everyone to go out and get a gun. I have a carry conceal. I don't go and shoot and practice, and I don't carry all the time, but I do have a taser flashlight, and I carry it when I show every single property. There's always times you're going to look behind a water heater, you think it's leaking, so it's not out of place. So we're just encouraging our agents to incorporate, just like Charles had said, you do a business plan every year, incorporate a safety plan in your business.
Good advice, good advice. And a great segue. So let's run over there to Helen Hudson and Tally McDaniel. How are you ladies doing?
Doing great.
Good. Tell us a little, yeah, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about Safe Showings and your app, and what's going on in your world.
Oh yeah, both Tally and I live in Charleston. We're realtors here, and I got into the business about 3 years ago. And 6 months after I'd gotten my license, I was working on a team and drove up to a neighborhood to meet the client. And it was middle of the day, but the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I just didn't feel comfortable about the area. And I got out of the car, met the client, and of course knew their name and number, went into the home, and I left the door open. And he got on his cell phone, and a minute later, a truck drove up. 2 people jumped on the porch, and that's where it all began. I thought, nobody knows where I am or who I'm with. I felt very vulnerable. And what I'm most passionate about, what we're most passionate about, is changing how we do business as far as from a proactive standpoint. Even if I carry a gun, if the criminal doesn't know I have it, it's a reactive approach. If I pulled out a gun when 3 men are in a home with me, that's reactive. Even if I wanted to call 911, that's reactive. I want our industry to take control before they get out of the car. They press a button, and you do have to have cell signal. So I know there's some challenges we have to work through, but you create the showing, you start a timer, it prompts you, it asks you, who are you meeting with? Because that was what I said that day. Nobody knows where I am or who I'm with. The timer has started, I get out of the car, and I just say, hey, Tally, it's nice to meet you. My broker requires that I'm accountable for who I'm showing property with. I just need to get an image of your face. And that one step before you unlock a door, telling that person you're in control of safety, could save your life. That's kind of a summary.
So is that, no, yeah, we need that. So is it in the App Store, or how do you go about
it? It is. We have two apps. One is for the individual that just wants to go and download the app if you have an iPhone, Apple, or Google Play for Android. Okay. And it's $4.99 per month or $49.99 a year. And then we do special pricing for groups like yours, associations, big groups, where we do custom pricing. We have several different options: site licensing, revenue share, and reduced cost. Right. And that would be our Safe Showings Enterprise option.
Now, did you all develop the app yourself, or how did that?
Oh, that's fun. I'm gonna write a book one day. I am 56. I'm the average age of a realtor, and I don't have a lot of technology skills. I can do a few things, but no, the answer is I paid a developer. I had to do research, and that's part of my story I'll share later. But I had to look at the competitive landscape and see if there was a tool already available that was proactive. And I ended up investing and hiring a developer. So, but they are on site with us now. Yeah. My developer and my business partner is on site in our building, and they can, help us. My business partner he could launch missiles with the Navy. He wrote code for that. So
sounds like a good partner.
He's the one that said, "Helen, what's the problem? Why won't these realtors use your app?" And I said, "Well, I think I'm passionate about getting the image of a driver's license." He said, "Forget the license. Get a picture of the face." Right. That artificial intelligence, and it's more accurate because you can't fake a face.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Mm-hmm. All right, Lisa Presley, how are you doing? I think Lisa's over there. You may be on mute. But Lisa is a member of the Greater Louisville Association of Realtors. She's on the KYR PAG, and has a passion for safety and realtor safety in particular, and has family members in law enforcement, at least one that I know of. So Lisa, tell me a little bit about what's going on with you.
Well, for myself, before I go and show a home or meet with anyone, I look them up on Forewarn. It's a really great app that I use to find out a little bit more about the person and where they live.
What's that called again? Forewarn?
Forewarn.
Okay.
Yes. And then I usually will go through and check the sex offenders list. And I will also check, down at the courthouse just to see if there's anything filed against them. But the other thing that we do for our agents is we have a buddy system. So you have one buddy in the office whom you send your itinerary for the day. You send it to them through showing time, and they know where you're going to be at what time. And as they pull up to meet with them, they take a snapshot of their license plate and of them, and we encourage the driver's license, and they send it right away. They say it's our company policy that we have to do this. And, we feel like if anything's going to happen, they're going to run then, because we've already got, 3 different things on file, to show where they've been, and we know where to go. And which we've had that happen where an agent didn't answer the phone, and I about ran over there. So it was, yeah.
I've always heard seems like for years in our business, they talk about the red file. Does anybody have anything similar to that? I mean, it seems primitive, but does anybody still use anything similar to that?
We still use it, Lamont. In fact, we have 2 words we use it with. We've done it twice in the 15, 16 years we've been doing this. One word we use is, would you bring me the red file for XYZ address? I'm down below the hill by the whatever. Right. Send Charlie with it. So that means that we're not worried about our safety yet, but we're concerned about our situation. Gotcha. If we say, would you have Buck bring it? Buck is married to one of my agents who's a local police deputy, chief of police. If we say, would you have Buck bring it, it means send 911.
Nice, very nice.
Lamont, a number of different people across the nation, because the red file became so popular, that now what they've done is started asking for a broker who's not there. So they call back and they'll say, is Bill, can you get Bill on the phone for me? And, Bill ain't been a realtor at that particular firm for 20 years. And everybody knows, because it's not as alarming as to whomever's closer to you, so they don't become as nervous about that.
Right. So Jason and Scott, someone mentioned go with your gut. Is that for real?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. You know, just to preface my response to that, you know, every month is safety month. And that's how the attitude that you have. But when it comes to, repeat your question for me, Lamont.
So I guess my question was, and we're kind of getting staticky. You hear about going with your gut, and I think a lot of people somewhat blow that off, but I mean, that's for real, I think, going with your gut.
It is. It is. And one of the things when you actually respond to that feeling that you all have described of the hair standing up on the back of your neck, you know, that's situational awareness, you know, manifesting itself. Something's not right. Something's causing alarm. And, you know, one of the things that we really focus on and where we've seen success with organizations like yours is creating a baseline. There's a lot of great ideas in the room, but creating a baseline for response. And when I go to sell a house, I made this example during our last presentation, you know, I want to call a realtor because there's ins and outs that I don't know about. I mean, I feel like I could sell a house, but not the way you guys could. I'm not going to get the same result. I'm not going to get the profit margin. I'm going to miss some legal documents. I'm not going to get it exactly right. So I want to go to the expert. So what we found is so many organizations like you all, and the healthcare industry has taken a huge hit on workplace violence. Statistically speaking, workplace violence occurs in every year. And the associations, as we've spoken about, and put it in the forefront and establish a baseline of response for when that feeling kicks in. What do I do so that everybody's on the same page? So the easy button is we say, go to the safety experts and let's help you establish a baseline. So you're not wrong in responding to your gut. It's how you respond to that gut feeling is really truly what impacts the end result.
Awesome. So walk us through, so as I think Cathy or Kim, or maybe Lisa said, the average realtor is like the average 56-year-old female with some college. And you know, our business is a somewhat of a part-time business. If you look at all 1.3 or 4 million members, you know, it is somewhat part-time with a lot of our members. So I think it's easy to let your guard down even more. What do you teach agents or your clients that are not tactical, you know, professionals, and they just they may sell 4, 5, 6, 7 houses a year and probably don't even think about what could be, you know, beyond that next showing. What is a good 2 or 3 things that you would offer up to members that they need to do every time they go out on an appointment?
Well, number one, training surpasses everything. And no matter what you're doing, whether it's selling a home, but no matter what you do, whether it's weapons technology, no matter what, understanding what to do and being trained on what to do is the most important thing. And in terms of when a couple of things that you want to keep in mind, you know, in the industry, it's not the same industry as 10 years ago, right? You're having to consider different things. Society is different. You know, a lot of times what we feel is good customer service puts us in a very vulnerable position. I know an old practice in real estate was, hey, I'll pick you up, you guys ride with me, I'll show you all these houses. While you're driving and your attention's on the road, those people or the person's attention that's in the car is on you. So those are things that, you know, thinking about showing up to an open house early or showing up to a showing early to understand the environment, to understand, is it a furnished house? Is it an unfurnished house? Because things within the house, if you get there and you understand where the exits are, where the entrances are the ones around the house already that the homeowner forgot about, that's a big one, right? Because if we're not aware of that, you know, we're behind the 8 ball. So number one, don't sacrifice safety for customer service. You can accomplish both with the right plan. Secondly, be aware of your environment, be ahead of the game. Really show up early, understand what the type of showing is, And I've heard a lot of talk about communication prior to. That's very important. Like I said, there's technology out there that assists in that kind of stuff. You know, I know the Safe Showings offer it. We offer it. We work with global corporations and deploying that kind of stuff. It matters in a crisis. But ultimately, understanding your environment is going to be key in how you respond. And then adding any type of technology that can help is going to be important. But at the end of the day, you and this is your most valuable asset when it comes to safety.
Good. You mentioned technology. I've heard you say that a couple of times. In our business, there's been so many advances in technology. Would it be fair to say that probably if someone is thinking about committing a crime against a realtor on a property, if that property has things like Matterport, I don't know if you're familiar with that, where they basically got videos and escape routes and floor plans and everything online, drone footage. They've got, you know, PVA information. I mean, you know, by the time you look at a house nowadays, you feel like you've already been through it. Do you think those technologies can aid people that want to, you know, that are bad guys?
Well, Scott is an intelligence expert. You know, we currently are official Homeland Security liaisons as a company. And that's Scott's specialty in intelligence and counterintelligence. And I'll let him expand on that. But you're absolutely right, Lamont, because if somebody is planning, and we find this in the active shooter incidents that we deal with across the country when we respond and we help mitigate the back end of those when we get calls, is we often find, and statistics show, that the people that want to commit these acts of violence took the time to plan. You want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so he's exactly right. Technology is wonderful, but technology can also be used against you. And there are folks that are out there that do commit crimes, that do have a good understanding of exactly what you spoke of, how to apply technology that's just out there, that's in open source, and how to use that for the plan that they want. You have a plan, but they also, in many cases, have a plan. So, as Jason mentioned earlier, that's where we get back to what happens when technology fails you. What happens if you don't have the service? What happens when you have somebody that maybe has used more technology than you have? That's where we get into that extra step of situational awareness, how to read people, how to note. There are always tell signs about how somebody's carrying a weapon, what you're hearing from them, different little tell signs that is usually that extra step that we try to instruct the people. So yes, the answer to your question is absolutely there are folks that are out there, because I've used technology in more times than I can count to find people. Mm-hmm. And there are folks out there with skill sets that we'll use them.
Good stuff, good stuff. So we've got a question down here, and I guess I'll direct this maybe to Cathy or Kim. One of our members says she shows quite a bit of vacant land, farmland. Many times it's in the woods and in hollers and wherever else. No cell phone service. What do you do then? I mean, what other than carry your stun gun or an axe? What is it you all are doing in those areas?
Don't go alone.
Don't go alone. Good. Good advice.
Buddy system.
I think you don't go alone. You can also open carry, Lamont. If you're going to be out, there's nothing wrong with it. In Kentucky, in particular, you know, it's legal, and you know that they know that you're prepared for whatever's going to be taking place, and then make sure you dress appropriately. It amazes me, you know, you can dress business-wise, but you better be able to get out of whatever shoes you're wearing in case you have to make a run for it or whatever else you have to do. Mm-hmm. A lot of times at open houses, I try to stay near doors. I mean, I'm 6'3", 240, and I still like to be near the door because you don't know who's coming from where. And, you know, it's hard to grab you when you're farther away than 6 feet.
I don't think we can put too much emphasis, Lamont, on really not just being a Pop-Tart, like Charles said. I had an instance about a week ago where I have a lot that was listed by one of my agents in a very remote area. It's drawn a lot of negative attention because of the area that it's in. It's not a good area. It's not a listing we would normally take. And I had a fellow that texted us to look at it. I looked up the phone number on Forewarn. He had 94 different charges that had been filed and confirmed. Most of them violent, most of them assault related, a lot of them meth related. There is no way I'm asking anybody to show anybody that property at that point.
Mm-hmm.
We may need to service our seller still. I talked to the seller. I said, I'm going to give him the directions. I'm going to give him the plat map. I'm going to give him the survey. He can go look at it himself.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm sending a real estate agent out there with him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And just the situational awareness comment that the folks are bringing up today, I can't tell you how important I think that is. We had a fellow, and I'll be quick with this, that called through another agent to see 9 different homes one day, ranging from 100,000 to almost 600,000 across 4 different subdivisions in a fairly close location. Nobody in all the years I've done this down here has ever asked for that wide a spread. So my initial indication or initial thought was, this doesn't sound right to me. So I did a little bit of due diligence. He showed up an hour before his agent was supposed to be there, walked several of the properties. When I finally met him later in the day, he blew off his agent. When he called my office later in the day to see the same properties and rolled up, his story was that he had inherited $2 million and that a local attorney was holding it in trust. The truth was, I told him that I could not show him the properties, that his agent needed to be with him, and it gave me a chance to back away from it when I met him, because he did not look like anybody I wanted to take into these homes. Long story short, he was a known thief in the area. He had been casing the properties using the interior photos, and he had likely already set up the fences that he was going to be selling these products to. So the Matterport videos allowed him, which we don't use, but some agents do, allowed him to determine where he could get in and out of these homes. And the local sheriff had already picked him up several times for fencing things that he had stolen out of local listings.
Wow. So this is to the group. Let's talk a little bit about social media. Someone mentioned that. I don't know how many friends I have on Facebook, but it's, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, I don't know what it is. But most of them are realtors. And we as realtors tend to, most of us have a business page, boring, and then we have our personal page, which is a little spicier. And we always talk about blending. I mean, I think most of our realtors do most of their business on their personal site. And then you scroll down 10 pictures and there's pictures of them in their bathing suit on vacation and that type of thing. Is that smart, or do we need to be thinking about that as we post things on our social media? And that's to anybody, or at least one of you.
I'm not probably the best person to answer this one. I have a Facebook.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I know. I have a Facebook account that I do try to remember to post to occasionally. I've got a business page that I try to remember to post to occasionally. I'm good at the media part of Facebook. I'm not real good at the social part of it. I forget to go back and reply to everybody. It is a blend over. And we have to realize that in our business, the fiduciary responsibility we have to our sellers, as well as our buyers, to make sure we protect them. We deal with this all the time. We're letting people into homes that, we had an incident that I know of a home inspector who was taking medicine out of a cabinet. And, those things happen. We have to deal with them. So we got to be careful in that we don't, in giving out our information. I know it's easier and it makes for great stuff to make everything out there so easy for everybody to see. But we have to remember that not everybody who's following us or looking at it is the best interest in mind. I think the majority of people are, but we do have to be aware that there are some, and we have to keep that just kind of a thought pattern. I don't think we got to change our whole lives over it, but we do need to be aware of it.
Be intentional.
I try not to share any names of my grandchildren, my kids. I don't share anything like that, just to protect everyone involved. So a lot of my family, because of law enforcement, they change their names. So they're not using the regular last names, or they create one, so we all know who they are, but it's just dangerous out there. It really is.
Lisa, I'm reading your comment there. I'm kind of thinking whoever tries to take you down is going to have a problem on their hands. You got your tactical knife, your handgun,
I do.
That up, you're ready to go.
The tactical knife's easy to carry because you can clip it into your pants, but I'm thinking, if someone were to do something, at least I've got some way to, you know, if I were just like what happened with Beverly Carter, and she was duct taped in the bathroom. You know, they had her sitting there for the longest time. Well, I'd like to know that there's some type of option there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk for a minute about cyber risks. I mean, that's a little bit different, but man, when that happens, and I'm talking about anything from you know, sending money or wiring money, you know, they're so sophisticated now where they get into our email accounts for weeks, and then right before closing, they may send our buyer wire instructions, and $40,000 is gone. If you get to the closing, what are some best practices? I mean, I know we all have those anti-fraud warnings at the end of our emails, but has anyone been affected by that, or are there any best practices in that case? And that's to anybody.
I've told our agents in the office never to collect any social security numbers, because I know the title companies ask for them all the time, and I write on there, you need to contact the agent, or not the agent, the seller. But that's what I do, is I call them right away and say, you know, why don't you go ahead and call the title company and give them your information, because I don't want to be responsible for it. Yeah. And I know I've got double tiered protection on my Gmail, but a lot of agents don't think to do that. Mm-hmm. Because someone tried to get into my accounts, and when I looked it up to find out where it was coming from Vietnam. 4 different people.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the things we got to be careful of in our super technological era, I agree with Lisa, because title companies ask all the time for the seller's information. And I tell my sellers and the title company, I said, here's their phone number, call them. Mm-hmm. You know, it is a telephone. It's not a typewriter. You know, that's how old I am. It's not a typewriter. You know, it's not just a keyboard. It's a telephone. Pick it up and make the phone call and talk to a person to person, and let them have that information that you feel comfortable sharing. But it's also, I think we have to let our sellers know and our buyers know about the scams that are out there, and make them aware that you might get an email from Chase Bank, CHACE. You know, pay attention to how they spell things and what's going on. I know it's a hassle, but be aware. It's for 30 days. Call me up and check. Make sure we're all on the same page. Take the time. And again, I think that's the other part, is we're in such a hurry to get everything done that we don't take the time to do it, to sit down, to go over it, to explain. And I think we do have a fiduciary responsibility to be professional in that area. You know, that your doctor doesn't just send you the report via email. You know, usually you're on the phone or you're talking face to face about it.
So Jason and Scott, have you seen and I guess I know the answer, and not to get too political, but, you know, with all that's going on in our country, and I know specifically in Louisville, you know, it just seems like everyone is just on heightened awareness and stressed and tired. We've got the coronavirus. We have this racial injustice. We've got murder rates at an all-time high in Louisville, violent crime. I mean, it's like we have people walking up and down the street. I'm in the Highlands area of Louisville. I mean, people are just so aggressive. You know, they'll walk right up to your door and just see if it's open. And they're riding bikes around, getting into, you know, that gives them leeway to get 2 or 3 or 4 miles away from wherever they are. And it just seems like kind of the Wild West right now, to be honest with you. Are you seeing, I mean, how is that? What do we do?
Well, again, you know, you guys are addressing something that, you know, is overdue for a lot of people to address. And typically a lot of our clients call us after they've had an event, right? It's important for everybody to understand that what you're doing right now, taking not a story about how we were a victim later, right? Let's take these steps. And that's one of the things we talked about on the last webinar, in terms of developing a safety initiative for you guys and outlining baseline steps for things like that. I'll always fall back to this answer. You and your mind are your greatest asset in a crisis. Mm-hmm. And I've trained that is going to directly impact how you respond. So you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to understand that, though we try to, find the best in people, the best of people aren't always out there. And that's not always who we're dealing with. When we talk about in rural places, I know Cathy's, talked a lot about exactly what I'm talking about is tools and technology are great, but you have to be the one that at the end of the day is your greatest weapon. It's all on you. So whether or not you're paying attention to the people riding the bikes, hanging around the houses, being your due diligence is what's going to pay off in the end. So that's really how you guys team up as other people do theirs.
Good. Well, so we're coming to a close here. So I kind of want to open up to, is there anything that, first of all, if any of y'all want to say anything, please let us know. And then we have a couple videos that we're going to show at the end here. And I know Jason and Scott, are you all able to, I know your all's is short, are you able to put that up somehow? Okay.
Let's pull up on YouTube. Okay.
So if you all want to maybe get that started, and then we'll have Helen and Tally. They have it's a little bit longer. It talks about their service, their app, how to get it, how to use it, and that type of thing. But before, Jason, you guys do your thing. Anybody have anything they want to add or any questions for any of our other panelists?
I'll add, it is important to plan your safety and trust your gut, but this doesn't just apply to when you're showing property. We were talking about with our agents what to do when you're in the office alone, because a lot of people come back. When you bring your clients back, don't let them walk around the office, keep your purse locked up or put away. And, when you're at home, what are some safety things? So get you thinking about it as a realtor, but it can, follow you through any part of your life. So the safety app can help with a lot of different things, not just if you're showing property, I think.
Right. That's good. Good stuff. Anybody else?
I just think that I wanted to thank you guys for doing this, and especially for Charles for putting this PAG together. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And I think with the information we have available to us, we've got a really great start on that. And I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, good stuff. Anybody else? If not,
real quick, and I won't take long, just throw this out there, and that is to make sure you value yourself. No commission's worth your life, but also you got to realize people around you, look at the people who are even on this call, we care for each other. We're like family. And so be aware and make sure you watch out for one another as well.
Good advice. All right, Jason and Scott, you want to roll your video?
Yeah, guys, before we do this, I just want to say thank you. I know we're experiencing some lag on our end. I think it's because of the 5 different Zoom meetings that we have going on in the office today. So if it comes across that way, I apologize. You can actually go to our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, type in Consulting Solutions, you'll be able to find the various commercials. About a minute, 30 seconds, and just goes over some simple safety tips. So thanks again for your all's time. I really appreciate it.
Very good. All right. All right. So you all can actually roll it now, or are we just going to put it up as a link?
Yep. Can you see it?
Not yet. Do you all have to share your screen?
Sure.
All right.
There we go. I want to hear the jazz music. That's good. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. And we'll have that up on our resource page so people can listen to it with a little better bandwidth. Yeah, so thank you guys for that. That was very good. Helen and Tally, you all have your presentation available?
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll roll that and then I'll turn it over to Lester.
Okay, I want to make sure you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Are you able to see it? Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to show you a quick overview of safe showings, talk about my story briefly since I touched on it earlier, how this all started, what makes us different, and then a quick video of how to use the app.
Did you know that over 760,000 real estate professionals have had situations where they feared for their safety when they enter a property alone with a stranger? The Safe Showings mobile app was developed by a realtor to give real estate professionals proactive control over their own safety. It is quick and easy to record names, automatically capture exact GPS addresses, and it prompts you to capture a secure image of each potential buyer's face, a feature unique to Safe Showings. Over 200 real estate professionals have been murdered in the last decade while showing homes to prospective buyers. Safe Showings provides protection and peace of mind for real estate agents, homeowners, and potential buyers as it aims to deter crime before it starts. With Safe Showings, real estate professionals and their loved ones feel more secure, knowing that Safe Showings will automatically notify them with identifying details and geolocation in an emergency. For more information, visit safeshowings.com. Find Safe Showings in the App Store or Google Play today and start feeling safe during showings and open.
So 2 years ago, this past March, I was showing that property. I left the door open because I felt uncomfortable when the person got on their phone and two men drove up and jumped up on the porch. That's when my heart stopped. I thought, nobody knows where I am or who I'm with. That led me leaving a situation. Thankfully, I wasn't harmed, but I left there thinking I need to be proactive about my safety. That's how this all started. And I researched and I found out that over 200 realtors have been murdered in the last decade. And I think one life lost is too many. I know we all agree on that. And not only women are at risk, but a third of these victims, I've printed their stories and read how their life ended that day. A third of the victims are men. So men are just as vulnerable. And I guarantee you that all 200 realtors didn't think when they went to work with a client and helped that person find a home that they were going to be murdered. So we do have to be aware. I have spoken with Carl Carter, and I'm so passionate about his story. I've seen him on stage, and he said, Helen, you know, if you've heard the video story where she gets to the property and the buyer's story changed, he was supposed to bring his wife and his wife wasn't there. I'm sure the hair on the back of her neck stood up. And Carl feels if she had had a technology tool that allowed her to take an image of his face, that could have prevented her murder. So that's what makes me passionate. But we don't really think about the other side of the equation as often. The listing client, the person that we represent when we have listings. What if your house was on the market and I brought someone in not knowing they had a criminal background? They look at where your security systems are, where your child's bedroom is, and where you store your prescription drugs and jewelry. They can come back in a week or a month and harm you and your family. And we don't know how often those crimes are committed because our industry doesn't have accountability for people going in and out, crossing a threshold of a house. A home is the #1 commodity, the highest commodity that someone will ever purchase, yet we don't have accountability. Apartment industries, if all of us want to go view an apartment, you have to surrender your driver's license to see an empty apartment. I would like to change that for our industry. The other thing I had to look at before I started our company is what's available to me as a realtor. So I did go to the NAR website under safety resources, and you'll see our app is there now. And I couldn't find anything proactive that let me be in control. Before I unlock a door, I tell somebody, hey, you know, I'm happy to meet you, but the homeowner has required I be accountable, or my company requires I be accountable for safety. I need an image of your face. By the way, that goes to our cyber secure cloud. In case I'm attacked, my 3 emergency contacts are going to know exactly where I am and who I was with, and an image of a face can be sent to the authorities. And that's the difference between reactive and proactive. If you carry a gun but the criminal doesn't know it, you're not being proactive. It's too late. Pepper spray, mace, that it's good to have, but if they don't know you're carrying it, they don't know that you're proactive about your safety. So at least tell them you have it or something. But a doorbell camera or even a sticker in a window of a home that says there's a security system, statistics show that can deter crime. Criminals do not want to be caught. They're more fearful of being caught than the punishment for their crime. They're cowards. We have to be in control of our safety. Our lives matter. We have to be proactive. This is a quick overview of the app and the features.
By downloading the Safe Showings app, you're proactively preparing to take advantage of more secure client contact when conducting open houses and showing appointments. Start by entering the emergency contacts of your choice, like friends, your broker, or family members. It's an easy one-step process. The app features an easy-to-adjust timer feature that will alert your emergency contacts if you have not responded during the time frame you have set. When showing properties, the app will track your exact location via the GPS feature. You can autofill your appointment's information right from the contacts in your phone. You can see that the app provides significant safety at this point, but there's more. When first meeting with the appointment, use your phone to snap a photo of the client. Research demonstrates that this approach is the best way to deter criminal behavior. Now your contacts will be notified if you don't check in based on the timer, and identifying information based on the photo from your showing. All of these features give you accountability for safely doing business during your showings and open houses. Following each showing, the app gives you the opportunity to make a record of the appointment. The app provides free form notes that the app will store for you. By the way, the Safe Showings app saves all the information from each showing so that you can go back and review your opportunities for sales. The open house feature provides the same great security options. Always be sure to get the facial image for all contacts during your open houses. There is a handy 5-star rating system for your showing contacts. This, along with your notes, can alert you and others of potential problems from a suspicious person or from any previous showing.
And we're just thankful for your time. We would love to partner with you. We're actually looking for an ambassador from each state that cares about safety. Maybe it's a new realtor, maybe it's someone that's feared for their safety, maybe it's a safety expert at your association. We would like to have offer them a free year. These are our partners. We're going live with California next week, North Carolina, South Carolina, Washington. So our business is starting to take off, and we're feeling very grateful for that. But if I can protect lives, that's really my mission. So what questions do you have?
Very slick. So is a 4-star, is that super creepy or super good?
Oh, the rating, it's just like Uber and Lyft. Yeah. 0 stars would be super creepy.
Super creepy, okay.
That's bad. And it forces you to put a note so that we aren't discriminating. You can't just put 0 stars. It's going to make you say why. Okay. And this is internal. It's not to be shared with our clients. But if another realtor works with that same Andy Smith across town or across country, they plug in Andy Smith's phone number. As long as he hasn't changed phone numbers, you're going to have an image of that person's face in the ratings. That's to protect us.
Very nice. Any questions? Anybody? Any final comments by anybody? Well, thanks for being with us, everybody, and hanging in with us for over an hour. We appreciate you. And I'm going to turn it back to our KYR President, Lester Sanders. Lester? Mm-hmm. You on mute, Lester? All right. Well, I don't know where Lester is.
Lester's still here. I don't see Lester.
Okay. Well, listen, with that, I just want to say thank you all again for being here. Thank you, everybody with KYR. We are going to have all of this information. He's back. All right. Lester?
Lamont, you can finish, but no, I would take off right where you did. First of all, Jason and Scott, thank you so much for being here, Helen and Tally as well. But I want to take a special moment to say thank you to this PAG. You know, in putting this PAG together early in the year, I just felt that it was really important for us to make sure we protect ourselves. And so to those, I see obviously Lisa, Charles, and you know, you're on the committee, but at the same time, I see a couple of other people here, Deborah, Matt, Kathy, Karen. Thank you all, because you're giving up your time every couple of weeks to meet to make sure that we have not only a great task force that will look out for you and our associates, but will look out for our membership for years to come. So thank you for your work. Again, thanks for everybody for being here. And if there's any particular word that I would take away from this, and it encompasses everything we say, it would be situational awareness. And then one more, being proactive. So thank you for being on this town hall. And Lamont, always thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you, guys. Be safe. See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.